When someone pulls in front of my property and fires on it several times, I'm sitting here looking at these vile pieces of shit and thinking to myself, for what purpose will I stick my neck out if this is what happens after Charlie Kirk is killed? Candace Owens is a fucking evil scumbag. She is a degenerate cunt.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for clicking that button. This is Dan. I'm going to do a little more investigative work here into this Charlie Kirk case. Really going to watch a bunch of compilations from all the popular channels right now. Going to get what the vibe is. Going to see what the latest beef is. Got a whole bunch of people weighing in their opinion. And it seems very strange, all of a sudden, all at once, all these mainstream people coming in and attacking Candace Owens and attacking anybody else who is really just asking questions. It was nice to see Tucker Carlson come out, give a response. We're going to look at that. Erica Kirk came out. We're going to take a look at what she said. Candace responded. You're going to see that here. I'm going to put in some thoughts from Range Day, Bro. I think Valhalla, a couple other channels. And we're going to take a look at that. I'll give you some of my own thoughts. You guys, I hope you're staying safe, being healthy, eating right, taking care of yourselves. Don't listen to anyone else's thoughts. Put yours together. This is a very weird world that we live in. And with that, let's take a look at this. Be safe, be strong, be smart, be faithful, be good to God, be good to each other. And let's take down the fucking scumbags that are running this earth.
Precision, even though we all saw with our lying eyes in the Zapruder film, John F. Kennedy's head go back and to the left. If there are two shooters, that means that the Warren Commission, which was the official report on the JFK assassination, was fraudulent and was faulty.
Okay, there's just so much to unpack there. So before I start forgetting my points, let's go ahead and dissect what he said. So number one, I have no idea how Charlie Kirk would react to a Charlie Kirk assassination. But based off of his analysis and his opinions on the JFK assassination, I would imagine even at this time, being 7 months ago, still being on the pro-Israel train, which we found out recently he was not so pro-Israel in his last few weeks and months of being alive. But even 7 months ago, based off of Charlie's own words, he did not believe the lone shooter narrative. So what makes people think today that Charlie Kirk would buy this story that's being fed to us by a very corrupt administration that we've known to be corrupt for decades and decades and decades? It's like that meme, like, oh yeah, the CIA and the FBI did corrupt things in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s that has all come to light and has all been confirmed by FOIA requests, and they've admitted to it. But they don't do that stuff anymore. So Charlie Kirk himself does not believe in and trust these institutions. So why would we use our lying eyes, as Charlie Kirk used in his own words, referencing the Zapruder film, see his assassination, see his head go down and to the left like it did, and then assume he was shot from the front? I mean, it's just, this is literally the perfect clip to summarize how Charlie Kirk would have most likely viewed his own assassination. I think he would be encouraging Candace and others and the rest of the people out here to continue searching for the truth, because very clearly we are being lied to. I love how he also rattled off all the facts from the JFK assassination that did not line up. And I feel even closer to Charlie now, because that's how I've become at holidays. Like this past Thanksgiving, I was just rattling off inconsistencies in the FBI story pertaining to his own assassination. So it's like I'm watching Charlie argue my point to all of the haters out there, and to Erica and TPUSA and to Timcast and all these other people who say it was a left-wing extremist, it was a transgender lover, just drop it. It was the left, let's unite the right, let's take over this country. And it's like, no, I'm not going to unite on a falsehood. I'm not going to unite on a man's tragic assassination when we're clearly being lied to.
That's one thing that they are so good at getting us to not even believe our instincts. Guys, God gave us instincts. He gave us the ability to see good from evil. You can see it. You can look at people and you can tell. You can see the twitchiness. You can see the good, the evil. You can see it in their eyes. God gave us the ability to see something in real life and know truth. Then when we see something like the JFK, even the Trump assassination, which if they didn't kill Thomas Crooks, what do you think we'd be having right now for a conversation? What type of evidence do you think we'd be picking apart? That drives me crazy that we moved on. You know, the number one thing that drives me crazy in the Trump assassination is that the lady who was supposedly responsible stepped down or got fired, but that doesn't really matter because if you get fired from being head of the CIA, what do you think happens? Or the Secret Service, I mean. You get retired with full pension, or you get to go down and probably get a raise for lesser work. Like that's how the government system works. So all that happened was that the head of the president's security that day got let go, and there were no other answers. That was it. So we got told nothing, even though if you remember and you go back, there were all sorts of like, oh, there were no communications and there were no drones, and oh, we didn't have anybody on that rooftop, and our communications didn't work with their communications, and the people were in different buildings, and not all the police we're in the same buildings. You had like police over here and the FBI over here and the Secret Service over there, and none of them could communicate with each other. First time that it was broadcasted live on TV, and first time there were snipers up there ever for one of Trump's rallies, I believe. So there's all these inconsistencies, but they killed Thomas Crooks. They wiped his house and they moved on because Trump didn't die. Here we are just a few months later, but Charlie Kirk got killed. And now that we're asking questions and we see the same inconsistencies, and we just want to ask questions, same as Charlie Kirk seems like he would do, like he was on the way up, like maybe he truly found God and realized what was going on in his life and around him, and he got taken out. And he sounds like he knew he was going to get taken out. Probably should have done something better about it than just go sit there like a target, unless he did fake his death, which we haven't talked about that yet. That's an entire another can of worms. Did he fake his death? Probably not. It is possible, but other than that, why would he go up there and just stand there like a target if he did know he was going to die? So that's weird. But guys, don't trust the narrative. Trust your eyes. Trust your instincts. Trust other people asking questions around you that also just want a narrative that fits, that works. They don't want a fake weapon, fake conversation, notes that don't exist anymore, partner who disappeared off the face of the earth, pavement right over the scene of the crime, no investigation really, like no crime scene, no tape, no nothing, a free-for-all. Security acted weird, body signals. I mean, there's just so much stuff. CIA, FBI, teachers who worked at the school, and students in the crowd, and teachers who disappeared the next day who don't work there anymore, supposedly, and people coming out saying that TPUSA is evil and they all had to sign NDAs, and there's so much shit that goes on there. Guys, just ask questions. That's all we want to do. We want to find the truth. And I've been out hunting in the snow for the last 3 days trying to get a bear or a deer. The last few days of shotgun here, and now I'm sick. So thanks for dealing with that.
Okay, I don't know where the shot came from. I have my own theory. However, what I do know is that he was not shot by Tyler Robinson with a 30-06 from the Losi Center building. That is the only thing I know to be true. So,
yeah, I'd say I'm pretty comfortable saying that Tyler Robinson did not pull the trigger on top of that building they said he did with a 30-06. That did not happen. That's a fake, false narrative. I don't even know if that was him on top of the roof. The pictures they released of him look, I guess, a little bit like him, but also they don't. And then he was seen supposedly in Dairy Queen. That no one debunked that, but that was a different outfit with a different bag, with a different shirt. He was seen driving around in his car and all sorts of weird stuff. We don't even know if that was him on the roof running, honestly. So I'm going to say comfortably that I don't think it was him on the roof with that gun. It seems there was a bullet fired, and there's a forensics audio guy out. This guy has looked at hundreds and hundreds of videos, and in every single one, he can hear the shot and then the crack, and he can calculate, and he's done that on all of them. And supposedly he thinks he knows exactly where the bullet went. But there seems like there was a bullet fired that day. We don't know where it was fired from. I guess it could have been fired from the top of that building. And I don't just really didn't sound like a 30-06 when you listen to it, guys. And no one there described it as like a deafening fucking shot. If you've ever been to a gun range and you bring a big gun like that and you don't tell people, you're on a gun range, right? Everyone's shooting guns. But if you don't tell people you have a high caliber gun so they can be ready for that bang, they literally think you're a fucking dick. Like, anyone who shot guns before and been to a range can confirm this. When you have a gun 30 cal or larger, usually give a warning. Hey guys, it's going to be loud. Even 5.56 rifles, I have guys give me warnings, because we're shooting shotguns, handguns, 9mm, 40 cal, 22 with my kids, a lot of target practice. And a guy busts out like a 5.56 and he gives you a heads up. Hey guys, it's going to be loud. Never mind pulling out a larger. I have a 300 Win Mag, and that thing is so loud, it is insane. I literally shoot at the gun range, and people look at me even after I give them a warning. So, doesn't really make sense there. The audio that we heard, the bullet that the guy says he is tracking in the air, and he thinks it's going to shot into the trunk, and they close the trunk, and the bullet got trapped in the trunk. That makes sense to me, because I don't think that bullet hit him. That theory sounds like it makes sense, but that means at the exact same time there was another shot or another projectile. I have a video out there that says he got shot from under the floor. I don't necessarily think that's impossible. I still think there's a good chance that happened. My ChatGPT still thinks it happened. I've had a few conversations with it, and it says you can see a puff of the tablecloth, probably caused from underneath before he gets struck in the neck. I don't know. It's something to think about. But we don't know a lot about this case, but we do know that it doesn't make sense. Give some feedback in the comments. We're going to get a lot more to look at here, but let me know what you think doesn't make sense. And thanks for watching.
Yeah, I think Candace is telling the truth there. I think that's what totally, frayed her wires, is she's just like, was anything real? Are the relationships between any of the political commentators, the influencers, the politicians, the media apparatchiks, is any of this real? Does anyone actually care about one another? Is everyone just looking at everybody else as a tool for their own ends? And as soon as that tool becomes useless, so do they. And that's what it feels like to me. It looks a lot to me like you've got Donald Trump Jr. posting about Charlie Kirk's new book that just dropped this week. And what's his book dedicated to? Taking the Sabbath off, taking Saturdays off and putting your tech down, putting your cell phone down. And it's like, oh man, look, I'll grant, I believe that he was writing that book, but it just rubs me so the wrong way when you don't even have justice for his own assassination. And you've got the son of the president of the United States shilling his book. You've got his wife going on Fox News and talking about it. And it's just like, is everyone so poor? Like, do people have no morals? Or better yet, am I the only one with morals in this entire space? Sometimes that's what you start to feel like, because you feel like you're going crazy because you're disturbed by these things when everyone else is like, this is normal. This is good. This is total. This makes perfect sense. Of course, you're going to go out and just hawk a book from a dead guy when you don't even know that you have his assassin in custody. Of course, that's what you would do. Of course. And Tim didn't stop there.
Their leader and founder murdered, and prominent pieces of human trash are trying to destroy it. It's fucking evil. So you know what? When someone pulls in front of my property and fires on it several times, I'm sitting here looking at these vile pieces of shit and thinking to myself, for what purpose will I stick my neck out if this is what happens after Charlie Kirk is killed? Candace Owens is a fucking evil scumbag. She is a degenerate cunt.
He continues on like that for about 10 minutes. I'm going to spare you all that. Look, his emotions are sincere. He's definitely pissed off. And a lot of people, he gets accused of being performative with his outrage from time to time. And I'm sure he does do that from time to time, but that wasn't one of them. He's definitely sincerely mad. I think he's a little on the spectrum, like all quasi-libertarians are. And his delivery is so polished that I think it sometimes belies the underlying sincere emotions. But let me tell you, he's sincerely angry. But again, from my vantage point, like, the move with all this is not to do that. not to get so angry and heated that you start, calling people names that I'm sure you'll regret later, but rather digging yourself. Like, if you believe that Tyler Robinson did it, well, then help dig, help confirm that, help push for disclosure, help get additional surveillance footage. I mean, you've got a tremendous platform and tremendous reach yourself. Like, I wouldn't hold it against you if you were like, look, we are going to try and prove who did this. As of now, we believe that Tyler Robinson did it because I trust Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, or whatever your reasoning is.
None of us. And so I want our team who's on this case to do what we hired them to do and take care of this.
I don't need you to comment on this, but I think mental illness is involved in some of this stuff that is online.
Yeah,
I think it's really,
and Glenn,
honestly,
I'll be honest,
I feel bad.
I am not going to waste my time. I'm not going to waste my time in combating people, going toe to toe, calling people names. That's just not me.
First of all, Erica saying that people need to be educated on how the court system works is not going to play very well. We are all very aware of how the court system works, and this is precisely why we're in the situation where the public feels as though the only way that we're going to get to true justice in this Charlie Kirk assassination investigation is by speaking out, applying pressure, and even performing this open source investigating, as I've called it. Our court systems and the Justice Department at large have proven to not be truthful. They don't convict people that need to be convicted. They let violent criminals walk. They target political opponents, and elites are held to a different standard than the rest of us. We peasants don't need further education. We also are not, as Glenn Beck states, mentally ill. My goodness, we are uneducated, mentally ill bigots that must be diagnosed with something if we don't just go along with the mainstream narrative that we're given. Dissent is diagnosed. That's what it is nowadays. Dissent is diagnosed. It is we mentally ill truth seekers that are contaminating the jury pool. Not so much. In fact, the Tyler Robinson defense team has been complaining and is worried that, in fact, those who are already convicting Tyler Robinson and calling for the death penalty before he has even received a fair trial, those are the ones that they are worried are tainting the jury pool. We want true and full justice for Charlie Kirk. We want a fair trial on both sides. It shouldn't be a problem if the evidence against Tyler Robinson is locked tight. I'm very much looking forward to the evidence that proves that this person is the same person. Look, maybe I'm retarded. I don't know. But the resemblance just isn't coming to me. Speaking of important evidence, Candace Owens claimed, and this was a big deal, because if Charlie said this to others, including his security team, you would have thought things would have played out differently with the security measures taken at UVU that day that he was killed. Remember what Candace Owens claimed here, and then I'll show you what Erica said.
And what I can tell you is we also received a tip from somebody within Turning Point USA that the night before he died, I know for a fact he messaged a donor and he messaged somebody at Turning Point USA. But I did not know, and this is what was told to me, that he also messaged Dan Flood, the security that's to his right, and allegedly explicitly said that they are going to kill me tomorrow. So again, that many people know that Charlie sensed that he was going to die tomorrow is an absolute fact. Why these individuals are all being quiet about that is a massive question mark, okay? And what we can say for certain is, of course, people will betray one another if money is on the line, right? And it could be for 30 pieces of silver, or it could be for billions. But things get complicated when there's a lot of money on the line.
Candace has made this claim multiple times now about Charlie, saying they were going to kill him the days leading up to his assassination. And she says that she has proof that these messages exist. Now here's Erica.
Do you think Charlie knew to some degree and had made the conscious choice that I may be taken out early, not saying he knew that day, but that he had any inkling that this might come his way, and that he intentionally chose to move forward with faith in God?
It's interesting because I have unbelievable amounts of death threats. My kids have kidnapping threats, death threats. Our whole team has death threats. We knew that there was always going to be a threat, but Charlie and I we promised each other we would never live in fear. And he would say, if they're going to get me, they're going to get me. But he was not messaging people the day before saying, I'm going to be murdered. They're coming after me. Someone's going to kill me. He didn't say that. And I have his cell phone. Didn't say that.
Well, someone's lying. And this is pretty provable. So why doesn't someone just put up and produce? If Charlie sent you the text, show it with the timestamp. Dan Flood, your name was called out. Let's go. Clear your name. Wasn't he also the one who texted the UVU police about covering the rooftop, which was never followed up upon? Would be a very good time for Dan Flood to come out now and put this to bed and prove which one of these two is telling the truth. Look, I don't give a damn who's right. I just want the truth. And to be clear, as I've said, judging Erica by her emotions, promoting Charlie's book, or taking over at Turning Point USA doesn't do it for me. However, there was incompetence and negligence within Turning Point USA that contributed to Charlie getting killed. Poor planning, lack of security, and then dishonesty after the fact. This should be addressed by the CEO to ensure that there were not malevolent motives. This is objective. If they want the accusations to stop, just actually address the legitimate concerns that people have and stop calling us mentally ill or uneducated for having them. Finally, despite many being unhappy about the way that she is going about it, Candace Owens has raised very serious questions, concerns, and she has provided receipts and evidence to back them up. Ideally, Turning Point USA and Candace Owens sit down live, I don't care, in person, virtual, and flesh all of this out.
Negrofied.
So I'm not making a black woman and you being a white man, and it's not about race, but for whatever reason, these little dudes keep putting race into this.
You're watching a show of a stupid black woman. Candace Owens is like any other black person that believes in magic. We are becoming Negrofied.
So I'm not making it about race. They are. I felt like it's my responsibility as a black man to come in advocation for Candace Owens. So forgive me for doing my job as a man. So even though you don't know me, it's fuck you, Tim Pool, until she gets her apology. But I digress. Check out this video where we spend 10 whole minutes making fun of Tim Pool.
Benefited from Charlie Kirk's assassination, which he's doing to me right now.
That's it. That's most likely it. He did something. He got into it with Candace. Candace put him on her thumbnail, and he lost his financial backing. A company pulled out that was sponsoring him. A company pulled out that was supporting his life, and he looked at his P&L sheet, and next thing you know, it was like this, and the second they pulled out, it's like this. Because I don't know. So let's say a company has been paying him $200,000 a month, and all of a sudden, they back out. And now he's like, oh, shit. And in his mind, it started because of Candace Owens putting him on her thumbnail. And that's possibly what happened with this guy. He was up Tuesday. He said some dumb shit about Candace, and now he's broke or potentially broke or whatever you want to call it.
So there's a lot to unpack there. First and foremost, what you are seeing right there is not a display of testosterone. Men that speak to women like this are not tough guys, okay?
At his P&L shit, he's doing to
have fun. A dating card
right now.
This is the evidence right here. He said what she's doing to me right now. I can only assume that something happened in the background that literally ruined his life. And it has something to do with Candace.
Like I did something for you as you cower, cower, scared that she'll put you on her thumbnail and claim you benefited from Charlie Kirk's assassination, which he's doing to me right now.
That's it. That's most likely it. He did something. He got.
But at the same time, they don't question anything. They're just like, well, the FBI's on top of it, guys. So we're moving forward, and this is what happened. And I want to go through a couple of different perspectives today, because for me, none of it makes sense. And now what we're seeing is we're seeing a whole bunch of people teaming up against Candace Owens. And do I agree with every single word that comes out of Candace Owens' mouth about this? No. But do I agree with the premise of questioning this? Do I agree with the premise of finding holes in this? Yes, because we shouldn't just settle for, there's a whole bunch of weird stuff going on with this, but it's all good. So we got Tyler Robinson in court today. Nobody knows how much longer he has on earth, you know, just in case they want to, I don't know, off him before the trial. But he's sitting in court smirking.
Being delivered to this courthouse. Some of the doors are zip tied, so all types of measures being taken to make sure that this proceeding happens safely and securely today. Now, on the docket today, perhaps one of the most important issues, there was an October 24th hearing in which Judge Graff determined Robinson will be allowed to wear civilian clothing in court, as you see on your screen right now, but he has to remain shackled. Now, also in that October 24th hearing, general security measures and other issues of fairness in this trial were discussed in a closed portion.
So look, I'm not 100% sure still if Tyler is the guy, but I think it's massively disrespectful for you to be smirking in court. I don't know who this woman is right here, but why are you even talking to him? Is that your lawyer? If it's your lawyer, fine, but it shouldn't be this fun, happy-go-lucky conversation. It should be, hey, bro, you're fucked. This isn't fun. This isn't cool. Let's just focus on your case, dude. So here we have Erica Kirk again, talking about how Charlie Kirk, a adamant Christian, a guy who was questioning Israel at the end, is all of a sudden saying Shabbat Shalom when he comes home. This is the second time she's talked about this.
He would walk through the door, drop his bags, Daddy's home, take his phone, Friday night, Shabbat Shalom, throw it in the junk drawer, and it was just all us. And that's what I always wanted to make so special for him, was coming home. I'd always say, baby, I don't care what time you get home. I don't understand this. Is saying Shabbat Shalom like a funny thing for Christians? Why is that even a thing? How is it a thing? Are you Christian and you want to be Jewish? I don't know. I mean, I'm not judging here, but that doesn't make any sense. What would make more sense is he comes home, throws his shit in the drawer and says, Christ is king. Where is my food? That makes more sense than throw it in the drawer, Shabbat Shalom. Guys, remember, I'm not Jewish, though. Stupid. Then we have this guy. His name is Michael Franzese, and he was a part of the Colombo crime family, and he's super proud of it. He goes on all these podcasts and talks about it. He's got it on his Instagram bio. He flaunts it like, I don't know, he's some kind of badass. And he's telling Candace Owens to move on.
Find out what your true motivation is with all this Charlie Kirk, TPUSA conspiracy speculation you've been putting out there for the past several months since Charlie's tragic murder. You said that if Erica Kirk told you to stop, that you would stop. Well, this morning, very clearly, on Fox News' Outnumbered, she did just that. Now, she didn't mention your name. She has too much class for that. But she said those people, or that person, who's making hundreds of thousands of dollars on putting out all this speculation about my husband and about TPUSA, it needs to stop. Contrary to what you've been putting out there, that you're the only person that Charlie really believed would ever get to the truth, that's not true. She said straight out, she and TPUSA have been working with the authorities, that no stone is being left unturned to find out what.
It's kind of weird that a dude who ran criminal enterprises for a very long time is all of a sudden like, yeah, big government, the FBI, they're getting it done.
I do find it super weird that Erica Kirk, we are giving everything to the authorities. Charlie himself didn't think the FBI and the CIA were trustworthy. Why, after your husband got assassinated, would you give everything over? I know, like, who you're supposed to give it to, right? Like, but you would think you'd make everything public. Giving information to the CIA, the FBI, or any other part of the government where they can just make it disappear, said it never existed, put it in a black vault. Why would you ever do that? It just doesn't make sense to me. Didn't make sense to me that she only had one autopsy. Why didn't she have a team of doctors show up? Why didn't she have, I mean, you have the money. Why don't you have 12 doctors show up and all do an autopsy together? What the fuck is the secrecy? Obviously, it's because of dirty play. It's the only time there's secrecy, guys. That's the only time that stuff seems wrong is when stuff is wrong. No autopsy. All right. Well, one doctor, and then little leaks and rumors and miracle Iron Man, Superman skin, and then Nick Fuentes is preaching the skin deflected the bullet. Doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem right.
I'm going to read one more. This is a tweet that Charlie tweeted out on November 22nd, 2023. Or maybe it doesn't matter. So he says,
yeah, you're right.
60 years ago today, JFK was murdered in broad daylight, a moment that would alter the trajectory of American history and shatter the public's trust in the federal government. Today, the same intel agencies whose fingerprints are all over JFK's assassination are more unaccountable and more weaponized than ever. But now they have vast technological powers, from universal surveillance to the new tool of AI. And when you take on the military industrial complex and, the police state, don't be surprised when those in power call for you to be eliminated. 11/22/63 should be a day that reminds us that power must be returned to we the people, the sovereign, and America's intel agencies must be brought to heel. And again, so all these people who have zero questions about the FBI narrative are the ones who are betraying Charlie Kirk's ethos, his MO, and his legacy. And it's disgusting. Not one question. I've said this about a lot of people. There's a lot of people out there with zero questions that are just obvious. So,
can my children have one thing? Everything was public. We will be building the most beautiful memorial for my husband at Turning Point USA, and it will be for the world to see, and it will be spectacular, and it will have basically museum style for our Charlie. For my Charlie. But can I have one thing? Can my babies have one thing where we hold it sacred, where my husband is laid to rest, where I don't have to be worried about some secular revolutionary coming and destroying my husband's grave while my daughter is sitting there praying? One thing. This is my husband. Yes, he was Charlie Kirk to the world, and I know so many people love my husband, and I am grateful for that. But this is my husband. And I want to be able to have one thing left that is sacred to our family, to my in-laws, to my babies, and to my parents. One thing.
Okay, so on its face, I actually agree with that. I think that when people are being buried and where they're being buried and how their funerals are done, that is very private matter, okay? So objectively, I agree with what she's saying, okay? But subjectively, because we are dealing with the subject of Erica Kirk and what transpired immediately following Charlie's assassination, this is going to be read as Meghan Markle syndrome, okay? Meghan Markle syndrome, where you want privacy when you want it, but you want publicity whenever you want it, and that just doesn't work, okay? It doesn't work that way. I honestly think it was said best by Bethany Frankel, not related to this situation. Bethany Frankel is on Real Housewives, a reality show. And she was referring to one of the housewives who lived her life very publicly, showcased her marriage, was buying tons of Louis Vuitton bags, and they had tons of money. And then when their relationship soured, the housewife basically asked the public for privacy. And Bethany was like, no, this isn't how it works. Like, we were riding with you on the way up, we're riding with you on the way out. You don't get to like pick and choose when you want privacy and when you don't want privacy. And subjectively, as it, in the matter of Erica Kirk, this is the same person who had somebody record her over Charlie Kirk's casket. That was not our business, truly. And I can say that decision was made by her. And there is, some credence to the claim that everybody grieves differently. I wouldn't even record myself over a casket ever, okay? Some people maybe perhaps want to have that memory. But the decision to publish that, you crying over your husband's casket, and to publish his dead body on Instagram was a decision that was made by Erica. And we can watch that. Take a look.
Oh, I love you. I love you. I love you. I know. I love you. I love you. I love you. God bless you.
That is an incredibly personal and an incredibly intimate moment that you invited the public into. Okay, there was no reason to do that outside of wanting to share something that was very private with the public. And now you fast forward 3 months removed, and it's why does the public want to know where he's buried? It doesn't work like that. You have to make a decision. I want this always to be private, or I want this always to be public. That's my personal feedback there. Later on in this same interview, she launches into a strong defense of Turning Point USA employees who have, just as a matter of fact, told many lies, many inconsistencies. These are verifiable. So they are currently lying to the public, or they have lied to the public, but she is going to deliver quite an impassioned defense regarding these particular individuals and the organization as a whole. And I want you to hear her passion. Take a listen.
What are they taking from you right now?
Nothing. But I will tell you what they are doing. It reminds me so much of chapter 6 in the book of Nehemiah. He is building a wall, and the townspeople are at the base of that hill saying, Nehemiah, calling him all these names, saying all these things, come on down. Every single time he had the same message 4 times in a row. I cannot come down. I am busy building. That is how I feel. I do not have time to address the noise. My silence does not mean that I am complacent. My silence does not mean that somehow Turning Point USA and all of the handpicked staff that loved my husband and my husband loved them is somehow in on it. We are busy building. And you know what I thought? I thought these people are human. We are all grieving in our own way. And they are trying to find the answer to something that happened that was so evil. They are trying so hard. And I get that. We're doing the same. Anytime we hear a lead or anytime we hear anything, we send it to the authorities. Please dig into this. No rock will be unturned. I want justice for my husband, for myself, for my family, more than anyone else out there. So for me, you want to keep telling me to come down while we're building? I don't have time for that. But here's my breaking point on that. Come after me, call me names, I don't care. Call me what you want. Go down that rabbit hole, whatever. But when you go after my family, my Turning Point USA family, my Charlie Kirk Show family, when you go after the people that I love, and you're making hundreds and thousands of dollars every single episode going after the people that I love because somehow they're in on this, no.
I'm sorry, but that whole thing right there is frustrating, and I'm going to explain to you why I just do not accept any of that. First and foremost, the idea that she does not have time. Okay, she definitely has time, okay? She's done Hannity, she's done The Five, she's done Fox and Friends, she's done Outnumbered, she's done Megyn Kelly Live, she sat down with the New York Times. She made time, by the way, in case you don't remember, to fly to DC for Sergio Gore to be sworn into the ambassador to India, as the ambassador to India, which feels kind of obscure and not necessarily related to Turning Point USA affairs, building affairs, or whatever it is. But sure, that's fine. I mean, obviously, you're also allowed to be a person if that's the homie and that's what you want to do, sure. But we are indeed speaking about a coast-to-coast flight to stand up next to somebody and basically say, Charlie loved you. That was like the 15-second speech that she gave, right? Here's actually, we have a clip of that speech that she gave.
Well, he was also very good friends with a guy named Charlie. We just knew him as Charlie. And his wife, who we love so much, is here with us. And maybe, you know how close they were together. Maybe, Erica, you could say a couple of words, please.
I'm honored to, sir. Charlie loved you. It's hard not to get emotional because I know that he would have been the first phone call when he found out that you were going to be taking this position. And the way that I was able to witness the two of you work together for years and to champion and support the president was absolutely humbling to witness, and I am so proud of you. And Charlie is going to be with you every single day in spirit, and I will be praying for you every day because I know that this is just the beginning of an incredible opportunity for you. And sir, thank you for allowing Sergio to have this beautiful moment.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dorothy.
That's just an ambassador to India swearing in ceremony. Again, if that's your friend and you want to be there, that makes sense. She's also a person, and she can decide what she wants to do there. But the point that I am making is that's a coastal flight that she made to be there to watch a paper get signed. She has also made time for an upcoming CBS News town hall sit down with Barry Weiss, which was filmed today. So Erica Kirk has time. She has time. It is just what she means to say, not her priority, which is you are allowed to prioritize things in your own life. But this is not a matter of time constraint. It is not her priority to respond to the majority, actually. The majority of people think of this as BS. The majority of people think Turning Point is acting suspicious. And she does not feel that it is what she wants to do as a matter of priority, responding. Okay, that's fine. Now, to that point that people are making hundreds and thousands of dollars, I just don't get how there's not someone on this very large PR team, as we're seeing these PR campaigns go out, that doesn't go, hey, maybe we should strike that. They made $40 million like 2 nights ago at Mar-a-Lago. Maybe that feels kind of a little bit like let them eat cake-ish. Oh, and we've made more than, separately from Mar-a-Lago, Turning Point USA, since Charlie was killed, just so you guys know this is a fact, has made more than $100 million. That is separate from the $40 million they made at Mar-a-Lago the other night. So since Charlie has died, that organization has taken in $140 million. But gosh darn you people that are making hundreds of dollars every day on YouTube talking about Charlie Kirk's assassination and the BS narrative that is being fed and the very obvious psychological operation that is being employed to make you accept the BS that they are trying to sell to us. Gosh darn you. Did you make $1,000 today? Speaking about Charlie Kirk, well, you should be ashamed of yourself, says Turning Point USA, who in large part made that money because of those very people who gave to the organization immediately following Charlie Kirk's assassination. And the thing that is especially absurd about that is trying to almost like, I want to be clear that Turning Point USA is my family. The Charlie Kirk show is my family. She's just expanding the wings of people that we're not allowed to critique because they're in the family. If you call them fam, you can't critique them, right? Oh, I'm sorry. We actually are showing a clip of Rob McCoy defending a pedophile or trying to launder the reputation of that's fam. That's the CK show fam. Oh, I'm sorry. We are actually pointing to the fact that we know for certain that this person or organization is a sexual deviant. That's fam. That is my, don't you get me upset. I know that this is a now $150 million in the last 3-month organization and we employ tons of people, but you can't critique. You can't critique the fam. And I hate to say this, but I'm going to be very clear here. This is why there are many people who do not believe that women are equipped to lead companies, because what you are watching here is an unbelievably emotional response that is absent of any logic, okay? If you really care about your team, answer the questions, okay? Just demystify the entire event. Come out, sit down, answer the questions so people don't think Turning Point USA looks so suspicious. Don't try to mom the organization and say, well, mother's upset because people are coming after her kids and all of this multi-million-dollar subsidiaries. That's my children, okay? The multi-million-dollar subsidiaries, Turning Point, like Turning Point Action, all that, those are my kids, so you can't critique them. Not a good idea, okay? It may work in PR world. You guys, I know how it's an obvious PR campaign. It's never been more obvious of a psychological operation. I actually wish they would put me on payroll so I could help them make these things look more organic than having every single person that has been telling us to stop asking questions all make the exact same video within 4 seconds of each other, being like, whoa, Erica Kirk shuts down the No, she didn't even respond to one of the conspiracies. She gave us emotion. She gave us a motion. She said, I'm a mother, I am a wife, and we never asked about whether she was a mother or wife. We want to know if she is a CEO and a chairman. And a CEO and a chairman has to compartmentalize. A CEO and a chairman cannot respond to valid questions and critiques about finances, about shady actions that are being taken by people that require presidential pardons, people that are meaningfully asking why we are not getting a clear answer of what took place on September 10th. A CEO, okay, does not get to respond and say, that's my family. Okay, that's the energy of what I would expect from a mother speaking to a teacher, which I was this mom, like that's my kid. Okay. And I'll shut this down right now. That's my child. This is not a child. Turning Point USA is an organization. And Erica already had an uphill battle to climb, like that she had to climb this because, by the way, just because if this was Goldman Sachs and the president of Goldman Sachs or a managing director over at Goldman Sachs died in a horrifically violent way, the Goldman Sachs family might mourn for a couple of months, but they would have instantly had someone to replace that individual. And beyond that, they would have never accepted the public and the people that are investing money. They would have never accepted, well, he's gone, but here's his wife. She already had a hill to climb here, right? Like, this does not make you qualified because you love someone to take on their job. I am not qualified to do what my husband does. That's why I said I wouldn't want to be the CEO and the chairman of a company. Actually, there's a great clip of Jordan Peterson asking that very question. Like, why do women want to be? Like, why would you want to have? It's actually a lot of work and it's very stressful and it's a lot of numbers and you're crunching numbers and you have to be everywhere, okay? If you want that, great. If you built the company and you're in the room like Charlie Kirk did and you have proven to the public, like, hey, I built this company, I didn't even go to college and I've been doing this for over a decade as Charlie Kirk did, you've earned that street cred, okay? So she already had a hill to climb because now they're saying, well, this is his wife. And so, that's it. Well, now you're going to have to prove that you have the ability to be a CEO and a chairman and not just a wife who we expect emotion from. And you're rightful in that capacity. You are rightful to have emotion. You are rightful to be the aggrieved widow, but you don't get to just be widowed into the position of chairman and CEO. You don't get to respond to, well, in this case, investors, donors, who have given money and are asking meaningful questions with no, you don't get replies right now because this is the Charlie Kirk show, fam. Doesn't work this way, okay? And the broader point removed from Erica, which a lot of these mockingbird influencers seem to be making, is essentially they're saying to us that scientific inquiry and investigation in and of itself is now patently wrong, right? Essentially, we should just trust the state. Don't believe your own instincts. Don't believe your own eyes. Don't ask any questions. And I really want to stress to you guys how utterly ridiculous that logic is, right? Because if we followed that logic in any other situation, there would never be a crime solved ever, okay? If we just ascribe to the idea that scientific investigation is on its face wrong, it would not work. I'll give you a crappy analogy here, but imagine if there's like some young mother and she dies suddenly in the middle of the night, presumably in the middle of the night, and her husband is the first one to report it in the morning, and the cops show up who happen to be his buddies. They get there, and then they dramatically close the case in 48 hours, and neighbors are like, wait a minute. Excuse me, officers. Actually, you might want to know some other facts here about this guy. Like, he's in the mafia. These people would be like, how dare you question the people closest to, he loved her, that's his wife. Being a gang member is not evidence. Why are you saying he's a gang member? It's not evidence. And you get another nosy neighbor who produces evidence that in the middle of the night before she died, they saw the guy outside, the husband outside, removing cameras in the front yard. That's not evidence. Yeah, but I saw him go out in the middle. He put something in his car in the trunk. He was looking shady. That's not evidence. How dare you find that to be suspicious? More nosy neighbors start discussing, and they were like, hey, we heard them. They were having actually a heated argument before she was found dead. I think it was about money. All of a sudden, the next thing you know, you got Allie Stuckey from the HOA. She blasts out an email and she says, it's unbiblical. It's unbiblical to gossip. Hearing an argument is not hard evidence. You have no right to discuss it. Yeah, we're the nosy neighbors, okay? We put together a list of 20 verifiable lies that have been told in the weeks following this sudden death event. And we have some questions. So we're not going to accept Tim Pool jumping on the airwaves with big estrogen energy telling us we're evil because we have like school board elections next Thursday. We're the nosy neighbors. We don't care about the elections coming up. We want to know whether or not we are in bed with people who are capable of murder, people that are capable of covering up murders. Actually, we, the nosy neighbors, feel a little bit less safe in this neighborhood until we know whether or not there are some psychopathic killers in our midst. How about that? That's how I feel. I think that's how a lot of people feel right now. So I want to express that. And this psychological campaign filled with emotional manipulation and how dare you and the aggrieved widow speaks and so you're not allowed to question a $150 million organization. No, I reject it. I reject that 100%. Which is why I will say it has arrived as a blast of fresh air that on this very same day, Tucker Carlson is standing up to the nonsense. He's not speaking about Erica, obviously. He is friends with Erica. But just the nonsense of what the FBI is saying, he's wading in and saying, yeah, the FBI is not being clear in what happened. And I have questions because, and I think it feels like a blast of fresh air because and I know many people at home, are seeing all of these people that we followed and we thought that they were heroes. And suddenly this assassination has exposed them all to be frauds. Like for the right price, they will join Operation Mockingbird. For me personally, that is how I feel, okay? Like people in the military that I thought were forthright, people that were journalists that I thought were forthright. I just am so let down. And I don't think I would have been able to handle if Tucker Carlson was among those people. You need hard evidence. As if the killer's going to walk in and be like, okay, here's how I did it, okay? I'm going to give you the hard evidence. I was here, there. Like, what? Instead, Tucker Carlson is coming out and he is blasting the corporate and the Fed narrative with common sense. He joined Theo Von, and here is what he had to say. Take a listen.
I don't understand the official story at all.
Of his assassination?
I don't understand it, and I want to make sure that there is a truly rigorous and honest federal investigation of it, and I'm definitely concerned about that. A, B, I think that I don't know many of the details, but I know that recently Candace said that Egyptian registered aircraft were following Erica Kirk, Charlie's widow, around for a number of years in different places in the world. That's one of the weirdest things I've ever heard, and I just want to say that is factually true. That's true. So that's like the one data point that I happen to know is true. What does that mean? I have literally no idea. I can't even guess, but that's very, very strange.
And what is Egyptian? It could mean aircrafts from Egypt. Who knows?
I think that they were registered in Egypt.
Got it.
And but that fact is true. So enough. And it also her claim that, there were kind of a disproportionately large number of foreign registered cell phones at the event. That's also true. So what does that add up to? I don't know, but it means that, the FBI has a moral and legal obligation to look in every direction and to be open-minded as you would in any investigation, in journalism, in science. It's all the same process. I don't know the answer, and I'm going to sift through everything as open-mindedly as I can, as honestly as I can, to get to what the truth is. That's science, that's law enforcement, that's journalism. It's all the same. That's justice. And I just want to make sure that is happening. And I just don't have a ton of confidence in the FBI or the men who run it. And I'm not saying that out of ignorance at all.
That's a scary part too.
I'm not alleging anything. I'm just saying I think it's really important that we have that.
That is what authenticity sounds like. And that's what we're doing here. We are investigating, right? Sometimes you get something wrong, you correct it. But I was right about the Egyptian planes. And when you hear Tucker Carlson say that he is confirming that part is true, what I take from that, Tucker Carlson has been very clear. He grew up with CIA agents, okay? This is a guy who grew up in Virginia. His father, he learned after his father died, he thought he was just working with the CIA. No, his father was on the payroll of the CIA. So Tucker's friends are in the state. So you should take it as a concrete fact that there's something up with these Egyptian planes, and they were in fact following around Charlie, and they were following around Erica, as I told you. And that means people in the NSA, the CIA, are confirming that that is real. And yet, just last week, what we got from Blake Neff, and I know he's untouchable, he's in the fam, but I'm going to go ahead and touch that and say, like, this is not okay, the vibe is not right, is making a mockery of it. That is what we mean when we say none of this is passing the vibe check with Turning Point USA. There's no clear answers. There's mockery, there's laughter, but there's no clear answers. And the mockery and the laughter is not working. Neither is this idea that, well, now the widow has spoken. We're not dealing with the widow. We want the CEO and the chairman of Turning Point USA to answer. Okay? If you can't compartmentalize, then I don't see how you're going to be able to lead this organization in the future, because Charlie worked. We knew who Charlie was because he was authentic. Okay? He didn't just go, well, I only make time for like big pocket donors. Okay? He was sitting college campuses. He was speaking to people, understanding people. He was changing his ideas and he was changing minds. And you are not changing my mind about the fact that something weird happened that day and that TPUSA is acting funny because you give it an impassioned plea and speak about Nehemiah on Fox News. Okay? None of it makes any sense. Anyways, Tucker then goes on and states the obvious predicament further, which is that we just don't have any faith in the government. Take a listen to him discussing some of these lingering questions.
Here's what I am concerned about. A lot of things. One, he acted alone. Tell me how that worked. None of us really act alone.
It's hard to go anywhere by yourself, too.
Thank you. Exactly. You acted totally alone. Okay. You're going to have to prove that to me. It's totally possible. Anything is possible. Weird things have happened. We'll continue to. But that's not my default assumption, and it shouldn't be yours. And their default assumption was we acted alone. Really? Why do you think that? What about life suggests that people typically act alone? When was the last time you acted alone in anything? I don't go, right? So A. B, we know that people had foreknowledge of this because they posted about it on X and said Charlie Kirk is going to be killed on this date, and he was.
Is that true?
Yes, it's true.
Like, were they just guessing? Was it a guessing thing where every day they posted that?
Maybe. Have those people been interviewed? Have they been hauled into FBI HQ and had a long conversation with how they knew that? Like, let's get really specific. Why did you post that? Who have you talked to? Like, if I were doing this investigation, because I spent my whole life doing non-criminal investigations called journalism, like, what do we know is true? How do we find out? Call everybody. Be open-minded. It's like it's the same process. If I was doing this investigation, they would be at the very top of the list. Tell me how this guy who seemed normal became a radical trans furry murderer. It's not enough to tell me, oh, trans. I'm not pro-trans, by the way.
But was that the guy or his boyfriend?
Well, exactly right. Tell me how this guy became so radicalized that he murdered a stranger. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm saying I want an explanation for how it happened. Why wouldn't I?
I agree.
Oh, we can't talk about that because it'll prejudice the jury pool. Really, you've told the world that you have both a confession from him in his text to his boyfriend and the murder weapon with his fingerprints on it. I think you got a pretty solid case. So why is it so difficult to just explain? So I have said from the beginning, if you don't like what Candace Owens is saying, why don't you call her and offer a more plausible explanation for what happened? Oh, she's bad. She's bad. Okay. I mean, I like her a lot. I don't think she's bad, but I love her actually. But let's just stipulate she's bad. But why wouldn't you do that? Because
I don't agree with some of the stuff that the rabbit hole she goes down, but I don't
even know.
But I like the fact that she likes to dig in the garden,
Theo, we are in this garden, okay? And we're not getting out of this garden with the Fed slop narrative. We're just not getting out of the garden with trying to emotionally manipulate us and say, it's not, this feels like COVID, right? It's not like COVID-19. It's like Candace 19. It's another fake, they're saying it's a fake virus. Like, oh, you got infected. You just can't do it. 6 feet social distancing from Candace Owens. We're going to get every influencer on social media. 6 feet social distancing. Save lives. What are you, a grandma killer? What, you just don't like him? What? And then Tim's all fired up. She's a C word. People are going to die if you don't get this vaccine. And I'm like, I feel like maybe the government's not telling us the truth. We're right back to that, but it's Candace 19. It's Candace 19. That's what it is. And they think that maybe if they put the little 6 feet social distancing pads in the grocery store, that the PSYOP will win and make us believe that this is like common sense is the virus. I'm the common sense virus. It's coming around. It's so evil. Stay at home, wear a mask, save lives. You don't want to catch it. You don't want to catch the common sense, you guys. You don't want to catch it. Anyways, I dare. I'm sorry, I dare. And I have been very careful because I wasn't sure what direction she was going to go. If she was like, I was like, look, she's got a whole business that she's got to figure out. There's a lot of people in her ear. Maybe they like did this transition too quickly and she's just like keeping her head. Like, no, what she's saying is Turning Point USA is untouchable. And it's a no from me. But you know me. I'm just out here saying what needs to be said. We'll be right back after a brief message from our sponsors. All right, you guys, when they double down on abortion, we know that we have to double down on supporting life. Through our partnership